Welcome to Get Perspective, the unscripted, unfiltered, real talk show. And here, we bring people of all different nationalities, ages, and sexual orientations together. For what, you may ask? To talk, of course, about social issues, dating, and anything and everything in between. 4 participants will watch 2 spontaneous interviews recorded at NHL Stenden. We call these Vox Boxes. After each Vox Box, the 4 of us will converse about the topic at hand. And who knows, maybe you'll get some perspective.
I'm here with
Anthony,
Albert, Niels,
Lisa, Mira,
Mattia Troiano,
Valentin Vrago,
Yassi, Carolina,
Rasmus.
Lisa from Germany.
Bogdan.
Men have more disadvantages than women.
That's a fairly correct, I feel like, opinion.
Totally agree. I think that's not true. I think it's quite equal.
I think that's hard to just say like this because every community is different.
Nah, I think there's 2 sides to the story always.
Well, it depends what kind of man, I guess.
In these days, the world is quite equal and everybody has quite equal rights at this point. But still, there are countries in which men have more rights than women.
In Eastern country, people usually assume that men have to be strong, have to be earn money, have to be like the most important person in family. So it's a lot of pressure, I think.
I think men have more disadvantages in terms of getting what they want in societies when they deal with other people.
I'm from Russia, and in my country it's a big problem with men and masculinity. That men supposed to be always tough, non-emotional. They have to go to the army. If they don't go to the army, they're not men at all.
I think that men definitely have more advantages when it comes to the role in society and that they're more allowed to do things in general.
Sharing emotions within society, I think men are disadvantaged because it's not accepted to do that.
I disagree because that's the reason why feminism still exists.
Men do have disadvantages in some places, but I think sexism is still like a big part of our society.
For example, in working spaces, women are definitely disadvantaged.
Especially like in the work industry, like it's so hard for women to get like high positions in companies.
I've worked somewhere and colleagues of mine were men. They got more paid than me when we did like the same work.
Also at night, like that's just, like it's a basic thing, but like walking at night, like women have to be scared walking outside, and then like men, don't.
Men are the most that commit suicide, are the most that are in jail. So I think men are a lot less successful in life.
As just a regular straight man, I think they don't have disadvantages. Well, it's a man's world, so basically there are more privilege in many kind of ways.
It always depends on the situation. It depends on whether you meant the question physically or mentally, because I think physically men have definitely more the advantage when it comes to being strong and protection. But then again, I think women are way more intuitive and can connect better with people.
I think there is also a lot of bias in this, that it depends on how you are raised and how you look at those things.
It really depends on which topic you talk about and which community.
I feel like it's even, but also like less for women. So yeah, still fight feminism.
In the Vox Pop, Carolina states, "The world is kind of equal." What is your opinion about that?
I don't agree with that. I think the world is not equal. We have a long way to go until we reach that point. And of course it depends on the culture so much. Like some people have to face completely different problems than the ones I have to face, for example, as a woman here. But I think the system is just made in a way that we are less privileged and we are much more oppressed. That's my opinion.
Yeah, okay, I definitely understand, and I also think I kind of agree. But also something that was really interesting in the Vox Pop was one man saying there are more men committing suicide and there are more men like going to prison, for example. Mm-hmm. And I think toxic masculinity, the role in society men have, is also something that can have like a big root in history and how men develop and how men maybe get into this action of committing a crime or whatever. So I think on the one hand we have women being systematically oppressed, but on the one hand we have men being suppressed by society in their roles. So I think at the end of the day, okay, how do we outweigh this and how do we look on this concerning equality? I think it's also like a difficult topic.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I feel like, but I feel like also, if I may quickly interrupt,
Yeah.
that like men are more suppressed by men about being emotional than by women.
Oh.
Just like a little throw in, but yeah.
I feel like men and women should be treated equally, although coming from a third world country, men are then said, oh, you have to be strong, not given the chance to be vulnerable. And women are also, in previous generations, women are then taught that, oh, you need to learn how to cook and clean, so you can stay in the kitchen and help your husband out and stuff like that. Although times are now changing and people are now learning about telling women that, oh, you should go to school and stuff like that. And there are lots of other topics that are getting introduced, like the LGBTQ, non-binaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I feel like the equality is not even given in between men and women, but also within the genders. Like within men, not everyone is treated equally because of race, culture, sexuality. Same for women, and then there are even non-binary people who don't fit any of those two. So I don't think you can only compare men and women being not equal, but all the women in themselves in being female not equal, and all the men in being male are not equal, and vice versa. So I think there's no equality given at all at the moment.
Yeah, and I just want to add something, is that the patriarchy doesn't only affect women. I think that we should make that clear, because as we've been saying, men are also oppressed in a way. Even though I think, as Kiki said, it's super different, like the way women and men are oppressed, but we all are oppressed by the patriarchy. And feminism is not only one ideology that works isolated, it's connected to everything. It's like you cannot look at feminism without taking into account LGBTQ plus community, without taking into account class, capitalistic system. I think it's like everything is so connected that we have to maybe be more critical about see everything as a whole and not feminism as one unique and isolated ideology. Bring it all together.
What is your understanding of feminism?
Who wants to start?
I start. It's everybody being equal. It's not the angry feminists that say, as women, we need to get in a higher position in order to suppress all men. That's not how it works. We just want to be on the same page. We want to be as respected when we talk as you guys are. We want to be treated the same. It's no, sometimes waiters only go up to my dad and they're like, oh, so sir, you pay. I was like, why am I not? Or my mom. So, just want to be equal. That's all we want. Just treat us like normal people, like you would treat a guy. And although being aware of the difficulties we're facing, because right now we're not equal. So I really would my understanding of feminism is also that men say, hey, I understand your situation and I'm gonna consider it in my behavior towards you. So I feel like that's super important.
For me, feminism, it's an ideology, but also a community. I think feminism can really save you. It's, of course, what's striving for equality. But deeper than that, I think it's something that can make you feel like you're not alone. You can always, talk about whatever happened to you. I don't know, I'm speaking as a woman here. And I know that someone that considers themselves to be feminist are like kind of part of my community and I'm not alone fighting, and that's just like a really strong feeling.
Personally, I think like definitely feminism is like supporting women to reach equality, because of course there can never be equality, like you said in the beginning, but fighting for it and working towards it is, I think, a really important step. But sometimes I'm wondering, okay, I actually never thought about becoming, like calling myself a feminist, although I feel like I'm thinking or I'm supporting this this movement at the end of the day. But how would you feel like, I don't know, how would you include all men into this movement, or like make men more aware?
Well, I don't think that's my responsibility as an individual. I also don't think that's my responsibility as a woman.
I'm a heterosexual woman. Then there are gay women. There are people that don't identify at all, like as said before. So for everyone, there is a different solution for the topic, and everybody is less sensible about topics. So if I know Lei, for example, is more sensible and you're not, or the other way around, I'm not trying to label, then I'm going to adjust my behavior to make the other person feel comfortable. And if everybody works towards that, then we can all work together and it's going to be a happy world.
I think in general, mostly in our daily lives, we don't talk about those kind of intense topics, of course, because we're just living, we're doing stuff, we just try to be happy. But of course, those things are uncomfortable. Those things can cause stress and tension with us and can make us feel guilty or whatever. But then if we really want to strive for a more equal world, I guess we need to go to those uncomfortable discussions. I don't know how you feel about, do you talk a lot about this in your daily life?
Well, I don't, but I feel like, yeah, you should talk about it. You know, even I am learning more about it, even as we're talking about it now, as time goes by. And some reasons why people don't want to talk about it, like, it's very delicate, you know, as we said before. So they're scared of offending other people rather than getting to know, gaining more insight and knowledge about it. They feel like, oh, what if this happens, that happens, then, you know, learning about it, they may trigger someone else.
It's just like always, I think, not only about us, but younger people. You know, if we tell them about this in school and it's a topic they're familiar with, then I think they will be more open to talk about it and it will make them less uncomfortable.
What is one thing that you wish everyone else understood more about this topic?
Can I start?
Yeah.
I think I'd like to say that even if biologically there's something different in us, it's not, you know, that doesn't define our worth, and we're all worth the same. It doesn't depend on your gender whatsoever. We are all worth the same.
I feel like for me it's like for people in general to understand that it's not just genetics or not just the way we're viewed by society, but it's a mixture of stuff that like is kind of defining feminism. So what I'm trying to say is that genetically men are faster, better in sports, able to be stronger if they work for it than women, genetically. Just like that's why in sports men and women are divided. And it's very important for everyone to understand that there are genetical differences, but that doesn't define the chance you should get in any case.
Yeah, just adding on to what you said, that no matter what our cultural background, which country you're from, or whatever, we should be respected equally, and opportunities and everything given. As long as we have the capabilities for it, we should get a chance for it, you know? Like how you said, the male sports and female sports, but then in other circumstances such as jobs and like universities and stuff like that, when you're applying, you should get an equal chance for it no matter what, as long as you have the capability to enter or do it.
Definitely.
Oh, and also, sorry, and also not only an equal chance, but an equal set of options, also by parenting or raising or whatever. So like, it should be an option for a girl to become a firefighter if she wants to, you know, and that's an option. All the options of all the set gender jobs, I guess, need to be laid out on the table for everyone, no matter if female, male, non-binary. Like, it needs to be laid out for everyone that this is a possibility that you become a firefighter, and this is a possibility, son, that you become a ballet dancer. So yeah, that's just...
Yeah, no restrictions, giving everyone like the opportunities, maybe even more, maybe even less, to just like get to this point, I think. And I think what also like a lot happened, or all the problems that arise, are because of the missing communication and compassion we have for each other, just trying to listen and not always like, this is my opinion, you better listen to me, but like, okay, you have this opinion, I listen to you, and you maybe listen to me, and then we can maybe agree on things or not, but that we have like this compassion for each other and understanding for each other, and that we maybe aim for not trying to convince a person, but finding a middle ground so we can be all together in this.